The Internet of Things World is a great convention. It's in the middle of Silicon Valley. We have lots of partners and customers here. This is a great way to convey and announce our message to the world, to the market, to our customers.
This has been a really awesome opportunity to engage with the people that are really leading at the forefront of IoT.
The Internet of Things World Conference is great, I think, because of the many tracks they have. What can be a problem with certain technologies and certain IoT technologies is you silo yourself. I think it's really important that our industries learn from each other because some are more ahead than others.
Hello and welcome back to IoT World 2019. I'm Maggie Miller, Content Marketing Director at IoT World Today, as well as your host for the week.
And I'm your co-host, Jeremy Coward. I'm the Content Marketing and Social Media Lead for the event.
Can you believe the event is already in its last day?
I know, it's been amazing.
It's so sad, but let me reminisce for a bit. There were so many amazing moments. There was the hackathon, as well as all the sessions and presentations that were delivered here. There was also that awards gala. What a fabulous time. And of course, I can't not talk about this buzzing networking and expo hall. It's been packed and it's huge.
Yeah, it's been fantastic and really well attended, and there's a lot more good stuff to come today. We've got conference tracks on connected cars, IoT security, IoT development, and much more. And my particular favourite is the Startup Elevate Pitch-Off competition that is happening later today. So while you're watching the stream, don't forget to tweet about it with hashtag IoT World and tag IoT World Series on all social channels.
Great, and coming up right now on the live stream, we have highlights from yesterday, as well as more keynote presentations and all of the interviews that we've been doing here on the expo hall. So it should be a jam-packed day. Enjoy, and we'll see you on the live stream.
See you then.
The thing I enjoy the most about IoT World is it's a mashup of big companies, small companies coming together on one platform and exchanging ideas. So keeping the bigger companies fresh and using the agility of the smaller companies.
The exhibition thus far has been great. I think the floor traffic has been really solid. The number of people that have been by our booth as a vendor, as someone who's talking about IoT, has been really strong, and something that we'll certainly come back to.
Morning. How are we doing? I hear there was a pool party last night. Were you all there? I was. I'm still here. Welcome back to day 2 of IoT World. You saw it on video yourself. We had an awesome day yesterday. Thanks to everyone that engaged in the keynotes and the couple of hours that the exhibition was open. My personal highlight yesterday was seeing that expo open at 4 o'clock and just the rush for people to get in and start to see the demos that are on show at this year's event. This morning, we're in keynote until 10:40, and then I'll be back for a couple of minutes just before we go into break to talk about what else is on at IoT World today. As we go into vertical tracks, we'll be talking a little bit about how we're going to be launching some industry vertical networking sessions today, and then also about our IoT World Awards tonight, which will be in here for those of you that are joining us. That's all I've got to say this morning.
A couple more thoughts to share with you as I've been traveling around the world and meeting with business leaders from every different industry on what they're sharing with me about their challenges and opportunities. The first is the pressures to achieve short-term quarterly results at the expense of longer-term sustainable growth are bubbling up everywhere across the world. Very interesting announcement last week here from the Valley is that the US will soon have a new stock exchange. Government watchdogs in America have approved the application for the long-term stock exchange known as LTSE, which is a trading platform backed by prominent Silicon Valley investors and executives. The rules are meant to reward investments and business strategies that focus on the long term, which I think is a very healthy sign for this industry about thinking about strategies and execution that may take place 5 to 10 years down the line without the need to account for short-term earnings. Second is among the private sector, there's a general consensus that the IoT industry needs to move beyond pilots to scale. Many of us in the room have been in this business for 10 to 20 years, and there have been a lot of very interesting experiments that are taking place. I think it's time that we rally together as an industry and create metrics and think about sustainable business models that are scalable. Third, the urban and rural divide is increasing as we're having the conversation around 5G. We need to be cognizant about it. We need to invite in leaders from both rural and urban environments to talk about the challenges and opportunities that are in front of us. And certainly not last, ethics will play a really important role in the business performance of IoT companies. Shareholders, customers are looking for ethical solutions. That's somewhat new, I would say, in the past couple of years that has bubbled up, but I'm hearing that from business CEOs and boards across the world. So I'm thrilled to introduce our next group of speakers. Philip Mizzi is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Itron, and he's an industry veteran working to drive digital transformation in the utility space. Mizzi has served the company in several capacities, most recently as Chief Operating Officer for Itron's Global Energy segment prior to his role as CEO. Please welcome Philip to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. You know, the Internet of Things is going to give us a unique opportunity to see the world in different ways, to connect millions, billions of devices that are going to give us a view of our indoor and our outside world, allow us to collect vast amounts of information and to process that information to look for some really important nuggets. One aspect of the Internet of Things, the industrial Internet of Things that we focus on, is in thinking about how to better react to natural disasters. Why is that important? In the last year, in 2018, there were 14 events that caused over $1 billion worth of damage. Here in California, more acres burned in 2018 than burned in the prior decade. We've seen hurricanes and floods at an unprecedented rate over the last several years, and our customers, who are mainly utilities delivering critical infrastructure for electricity, gas, and water, are starting to think of natural disasters as a part of their normal business model, the new normal, that climate change and the interaction with the environment is going to change, and we have to use new technology to help us to cope with these massive disruptions that are potentially possible. Let me just spend a moment introducing you to Itron. Itron is a company that spent the last 10 years deploying over 200 million smart connected devices. We focused on the utility space and focused primarily on electric, gas, and water meters, but increasingly on other sensors. We're the leader in North America on deployed streetlights. We have 3 million connected streetlights. What's interesting about the streetlight business is building communication canopies over cities that then enable our partners to bring all kinds of new devices. These devices are all connected by powerful radio frequency mesh networks and integrating cellular technology to give us a level of coverage that was really not possible before. And this scalable standards-based network is what we're going to be talking about today, how we connect partner applications to that network in order to think about natural disasters and disruptions. So, as we've spent time talking to utilities, utilities are increasingly partnering with cities to talk about how they can work together to mitigate large-scale disruptions. And so this collaboration is frequently talked about as smart cities or smart communities, and one of the most important aspects of a smart community is resiliency. And this is something utilities actually know a lot about because they provide such a critical service in the form of delivering electricity, gas, and water, something that we take for granted, but is critically important to maintaining civil order and our society. And so when they partner with cities, it's incredibly important, this collaboration, and really thinking about how do we bounce back as quickly as possible from disruption. Ideally, what we'd like to do is be continuously collecting data and really develop the capability to be able to predict these sorts of problems, to be able to dispatch trucks out into the field to anticipate a problem, to put supplies in their proper places. In other words, to be able to react much more quickly. Very specifically, in the case of the utilities, the ability to restore critical energy and water, which are required for all other mitigation efforts. And then very importantly, to keep our citizens informed along the way so that they understand not only what's going on, but to help them to cope with the immediate problems that they have around them. And so when we kind of talk about how to create that resiliency, we think about these attributes of our ability to have situational awareness, to understand what's going on and to use that awareness to really develop this prediction capability. Because that predictive capability helps us to respond much more rapidly and then ultimately to recover. So I'd like to provide a few examples of how we're working with customers in these areas in order to implement these very important characteristics. In the area of prediction, we have a fair amount of partner technology deployed in the field to look at things like corrosion detection in pipes, voltage monitoring on distribution lines, which, by the way, can sense vegetation tapping the lines, as an example. So an early predictor of what could possibly cause a fire in the future. We have motion sensors out there. So all kinds of different techniques that are used in order to try to predict failures that may occur in the future. One of the really interesting projects we're working on, we are deploying a broad network over Con Ed's territory. Consolidated Edison is the utility of New York. They serve 10 million people. It's a very challenging environment for deploying a network, the canyons of Manhattan, and just the breadth of challenges. The project is going extremely well. And one of the things that Con Ed asked us to think about, in addition to deploying electricity and gas meters, is partnering with them on a problem they have, which you may have read about in the newspaper. They've had several really unfortunate explosions in their territory in which leaks in the gas system have resulted in catastrophic events. And so they put out the challenge to work with us on methane detection. How could they proactively sense whether or not a leak had occurred so they could intervene before a problem actually occurred? We partnered with a company, New Cosmos, in Osaka, Japan, who had this wonderful leak sensor capability and embedded our communications module in it so that it is able to share the same robust communication network that we're putting out over Con Ed's territory in order to sense methane leaks and alert not only the household, but to automatically dispatch personnel out to the house in order to cut the gas off before a problem occurs. So this is a powerful example about how we can actually detect a problem so quickly that we're able to predict that a failure is going to occur. In the area of response, we have many examples of ways that we're able to now understand where problems are occurring in the field and dispatch people more effectively. But I'm going to give you another New York example because you may have read about this one too. You often hear about aging infrastructure and the challenges that we have there. The New York subway system is, of course, over 100 years old now and is experiencing some significant problems. Ridership is up, that's great, but service levels have actually declined because of severe maintenance problems that the Metropolitan Transit Authority has had. When they analyzed what was causing problems, one of the things that they found was that there were power outages that were triggering problems. They actually went a little bit further than power outages. There are voltage fluctuations in the power system underground, and they feel if they were able to sense those, that they might be able to react more quickly. Well, let's look at that challenge for the Internet of Things for a second. Building a robust radio frequency network in the tunnels and vaults underneath New York, there's an interesting challenge. And we actually did that, which is a great thing, and have put voltage monitoring and electric meters that detect where the power is out underground that are able to alert the MTA and Con Ed much more quickly. It took Con Ed and then the MTA up to 1 hour to isolate where an outage, electric outage had occurred underground. Now, using this technology, they're able to understand exactly where the problem is within 5 minutes, which is actually starting to have a measurable impact and improvement upon subway service in New York, that they're able to get to that problem so much more quickly. So this is an example where this technology is helping to give, again, powerful situational awareness, but very specifically to be able to pinpoint where a problem exists and to get people to the problem more quickly. So moving on to recovery, one of the really big headlines you've been reading about are significant hurricanes. Going back to 2017, Hurricane Harvey, there were over 200 inches of rain in Houston. I mean, this was a significant impact in Texas. Our customer, CenterPoint Energy in Houston, lost a significant number of customers offline during the course of this hurricane. After they had restored service, there were two really powerful statistics they were able to share with us, in which they talked about the fact that the investments that they had made in smart technology changed the way that they were able to serve their customers and respond and recover much more quickly. And they saved over 45 million outage minutes. So 45 million minutes that customers would have been out were saved because they were able to respond and recover to the hurricane 25% faster than they had been before. And the reason is because they knew exactly where the problems are. We have things like pole tilt sensors. They're able to isolate exactly where outages have occurred, dispatch their crews more quickly, and resolve problems. Hurricane Irma hit Florida really hard. Our customer, Florida Power and Light, serves 4.5 million customers. 1 million of those customers were restored before the storm left their territory. So the utility knew of the outage, was able to isolate where it occurred, could proactively switch their distribution network in order to restore power or get a crew directly on site in a much more precise fashion because of having this distributed technology that's available. And then 2 million of their customers were restored within 24 hours. And this, by the way, was considered a record response in which Florida Power and Light's customers were very grateful about the response that the utility had. And that doesn't normally happen in a hurricane-type situation. So investments in smart infrastructure and working with partners are allowing us to really extend the capability of these networks to be able to sense disruptions in the system, in this case caused by natural disasters, and to be able to assimilate that information, react to it much more quickly, dispatch crews and repairs to very specific spots and really improve outcomes dramatically. Instead of just talking about our customer examples, we thought that we would actually provide you with a demonstration here on stage. And so thinking about something that might be relevant, I'm actually a native San Franciscan, and so I've lived with earthquakes all my life. You're sitting in California in a place that is one of the seismically most active areas in the Pacific, and we managed to put out of our mind the fact that we're sitting in earthquake territory. So the question is, how can we use sensors and the data that we're collecting through these very powerful networks in order to understand what's going on when an earthquake hits and how to react and recover more quickly? So to talk about that, and I'm going to invite my colleague Marina Donovan up onto the stage, who's our Vice President in charge of global marketing, to help us demonstrate and talk about how we actually apply this technology in a situation relating to an earthquake. Please join me, Marina.
Good morning. This morning, we're going to show how different data streams from sensors connected to Itron's network can help cities and utilities better plan, respond, and mitigate impact. We, as Philip mentioned, we're going to simulate an earthquake. And we're going to start it with the meter over there. And Philip, can you tell us a little bit about the meter?
Sure. Actually, our meters have always contained an accelerometer, which was put in there in order to detect tampering in case somebody actually moved one of our meters. The advantage of developing on an open technology platform is we're able to make that accelerometer available to our partners, and they've become interested in using that as a way of detecting ground motion.
Okay, behind me you see a map of Santa Clara. This has been created in a synthetic intelligence environment, and it was created by our partner, Run With It Synthetics. Run With It Synthetics was founded by a woman and is led by a woman. RWI, for short, uses artificial intelligence to consider, design, and experience the future, including unpredictable events. On the map, just so, because this demo is going to go fast, so I just want to get everybody grounded on where things are. You're going to see there's the convention center there, Levi's, note the pedestrian trail, and Mission College. And they've actually built out the city with 42,000 people, and we're going to talk about those people. This person up here is modeling a synthetic person. You'll see it goes from male to female. And you'll see here all of the different applications we're going to be talking about throughout the demo. And then here we'll talk about the results. So how many people were evacuated safely, really key. We're going to simulate a 6.7 magnitude earthquake, which, by the way, was the same size as Northridge, and a lot of terrible things happened. In trying to restore electricity, it sparked and created arcs, and then it started fires, over 400 fires. So it's also a 9 on the Mercalli scale, so you'll see a 9 on the screen. And we're going to activate all of our applications, and at the end of the demo, we'll show the results of how many people safely evacuated. So in thinking about this earthquake, Philip, I just couldn't help but flash back to 1989, the Loma Prieta earthquake.
Oh my gosh, look at your audience. Half the people here weren't even born then, but okay, let's think about that one.
Okay, true, that's true. However, now people can get a sense of what it was like. And better it's 2019, and there's technology available out there to mitigate risk and save lives. And the meters and the sensors that we're also showing in these demos, these are out in the field today, they're real. And also you need to think of the meter. The meter can be the sensor as well. It's a whole new world. So are you ready, Philip?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead and shake the meter.
Okay, here we go.
Everybody okay? All right. Okay, we now are seeing the residential neighborhood with the electric meters in yellow. You'll see a white square zooming around. That's checking and seeing how our synthetic people are doing and how they're feeling and reacting to the earthquake. Next, we see that the electric meters are sending a signal to the gas shutoff valves, and you can see those in pink. The gas is being shut off. Soon, you're going to see purple and red little diagrams. Here they come. And this is showing pole tilt. Philip talked about your pole is tilting, right? Your power lines are down, and that is what it's showing. We can see that there's a concentration near that pedestrian trail of power lines down and poles down. This is very real. These poles are going over 101, right? It's scary stuff. So what happens often in earthquakes, gas lines can break, and soon our methane sensors are going to begin to detect leaks. Let's see how we do here. In green, you see all of the different methane leaks that have been detected, and it'll be up to 240. Seeing a concentration right at Mission College. So when there's gas leaks, what happens? There's fire. The blue is indicating our air quality sensors, and they're detecting smoke and fire, and a lot of this will start taking place in Mission College. Our person is going to be looking very stressed. You see it go from green to yellow. And now we're zooming in. Here we are at the convention center. And in all these faint green dots, these are people. And we're all being given evacuation notices telling us, avoid Mission College, avoid that pedestrian trail. Philip, did you get your alert?
Yes, I did get my alert. Yeah.
Excellent. But flashback to 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. I was at work, get in the car, gridlock. No one's going anywhere. And guess what? What was scary is back then there weren't as many people here. So things like this are really important. It can really mitigate a lot of issues. So soon we're going to see how the whole thing kind of wraps up. But I will tell you that thanks in part to the self-healing nature of our Wi-Sun-based network, even if part of the network is down, the signal can be rerouted to other access points so cities and utilities can have that visibility to see where they need to focus and respond first. Now it's the broader view of the area. It's been 15 minutes since the earthquake, and people have started to get to safe spaces. We can see that 87% of the people in this area have been evacuated. Run With It's technology is key in helping prepare for all kinds of disasters. They work with organizations today and do simulations for tens of millions of people. And in today's world, as Philip mentioned, it's more important than ever that we're prepared. Just look at the fires in Paradise, California, the last few months. I mean, they had a very sound evacuation plan. Yet, according to a USA Today survey, only 22% of California communities have a robust, publicly available evacuation plan. The good news is, with tools like these, cities and utilities can run and model these different scenarios and design and trial it, and hopefully be prepared for the unpredictable, mitigate that risk, and ultimately save lives. So that concludes our quick demo and gives you a small glimpse of the role that sensors and this great technology from Run With It can provide, and it all helps to improve disaster response.
Thank you, Marina. So IoT technology can have an incredible impact in this critical infrastructure world of helping us to improve outcomes, improve customer service, improve safety, sustainability of our communities, all in a very economic way. Itron has deployed networks over 2.5 million square miles of North America. It's a standards-based, secure, reliable network. And we are absolutely committed to working with partners in order to bring your devices inside of this network so that we can coordinate this kind of very significant response. To the partners out in the audience, we would very much welcome you to stop by our booth to figure out how it is that we can work together. And to those of you who are looking for solutions to build more resilient communities, to strengthen utility infrastructure for delivering our critical commodities of electricity, gas, and water, we also welcome you. Thank you so much, and everybody have a wonderful show. Thanks.
What a great simulation that was. How's everybody doing? Good? All right. We're all energized. I'm very pleased to announce our next speaker, Tony Carews, who is the VP of IoT Strategy, Ecosystem, and Partnerships at ST Microelectronics. Tony is a 20-year semiconductor industry veteran and has held positions of increasing responsibility in applications, product management, and business development. He's a key driver in ST's IoT vision and strategy, whose efforts have led to their semiconductor leadership in the IoT market. If everyone could give a warm round of applause to Tony.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I've been involved in embedded system over the past 20 years. What I will cover over the next 15 minutes, I'll give you an overview of the intelligence edge, some of the trends, macro trends, economic trends, some of the challenges, the barriers, and what the industry is doing to take advantage of this opportunity. I will start, though, with giving you our view of what IoT is and what embedded edge is. It's a movement where familiar devices will be able to leverage the internet and its massive computing power of cloud computing. As devices get connected, get smarter, they'll be able to take advantage of all the power generated at the cloud and on the intelligent edge. What's driving this movement? The maturity of connectivity, the intelligence, new architecture at the edge, the optimization done at the edge, the intelligent sensors, and the effect will be felt everywhere across many industries. So let's start looking first at some of the trends. We will start with the first major macro trends is accelerating urbanization. You've seen, all of us have seen many reports from analysts, different sources predicting that most of us, the majority of us, will live in cities or around cities within the next 10 years. That's going to put a tremendous pressure on the cities, on the infrastructures of the cities, to create smarter things, much more efficient things. Thus the drive for smarter transportation, smarter energy consumption, smarter banking, and this is fueling innovation to support this macro trend. The second major trend is around the aging population. I'll give you just a reference of the Americas. It's expected that the number of people over the age of 65 will double over the next 10 years. So that's putting a huge amount of pressure to stabilize the cost of healthcare. So through that pressure, through that need, a lot of innovation has happened over the past 10 years. We've seen it from the major healthcare companies to startups that are popping everywhere in this field, trying to take advantage of this opportunity. And the objective is very simple, is trying to control this cost. That's expected to be close to 30% of the GDP within the next 10 years. The third area, the third macro area, is around our environment. You hear a lot protecting our environment, protecting our natural resources, saving energy. And you see a lot of investment in the transportation industry related to increased efficiency, the electrification of cars. But energy efficiency, as we've heard even from our speaker before, is not just around transportation, it's around everything, around water, energy, the push to save electricity all across all industries. So let's look at the traditional way of how the embedded systems operated. So you had devices at the edge collecting data, sending it through a gateway, and then up to the cloud. All the intelligence has been happening at the cloud. All the intelligence, all the action were coming from the cloud. So what does that do? What is the challenge with such a system? So many challenges, and the challenges are coming from the needs. There are certain applications that demand real-time operation. I need to act now. With all of these billions of devices connected, it could potentially create a bandwidth issue as well. So I can't wait to have my time to connect and communicate. Other areas are driving us towards taking decision on the spot at the edge. So what did this do? It's created a huge need for a decentralized, distributed intelligence model. So now you have a push innovation that is distributing this intelligence from the cloud to the gateways, to the edge, down to even our day-to-day devices. And what this system is doing is not only distributing intelligence to the edge, but it's also learning and continuously optimizing across all three stages of the platform, from the edge all the way to the cloud. All of this sounds fantastic. The architecture is there, the vision is there, the expertise is there to put this in place, though it presents itself with some challenges and at the same time some opportunities for all of us. And we will, over the next 10 minutes, we'll discuss some of the challenges, how collaborative efforts across all the industries coming to address these challenges to take advantage of this opportunity. So we'll start. Again, this is not, I'm here, I'm speaking on behalf of a semiconductor company, but this is not a semiconductor challenge or opportunity. The whole industry is presented with this challenge. And it's impressive, the collaboration across all segments of the industry, from us, from the semiconductor places to the cloud provider, to the telecom industry, to software vendors, to our distributors, to many, many different opportunities and innovation is coming from all across the technical community. Some of the challenges and the opportunities, again, you have sensors everywhere now. So the semiconductor industry, for example, are investing in innovative sensors that are creating the nervous system of this intelligence edge. Now, everything is being sensed, we're being watched, cameras are all around us, we're being taped. So some of these challenges is how to deal with all of this, what to do with this. The nervous system is there, but what do we do with this, and how do we responsibly manage this opportunity? This is all being enabled by many opportunities and many innovations across our industries. So technology investment in providing low power at the edge. You have also AI innovation from across many startups focused on certain industries, certain verticals, all to support this opportunity. Security investment from the cloud to the silicon is being at the forefront of this innovation and finding solutions to address these security issues. Smaller form factors to be able to fit this intelligence into the edge, supporting our day-to-day activities. And all of this is coming together, supporting different industries, from wellness to transportations to industrial and so on. So I'm going to mention a couple of players. Here at the cloud, we've seen there's a very active investment and development from our cloud partners in providing or acquiring solutions for real-time operating systems to enable intelligence at the edge. I just want to mention a few. You've seen they're publicly in the public domain. We've seen recent investment in this space, developing RTOS or acquiring RTOS capabilities from AWS, Microsoft, Google. This is a very significant move toward enabling intelligence at the edge. I'll mention another industry here. It moved now. Connectivity. So 5 years ago, if you remember, we were all juggling which connectivity should we invest in and so on. Now this is behind us. There are many connectivity solutions. Many, and they all have a place, they all have an application, they all have an opportunity, and everything can be abstracted from the users. So whether for short range to long range, connectivity is no longer a concern. Connectivity is there to support the enablement of intelligent edge. I'll mention investments similar to how we mentioned on the semiconductor side, we mentioned on the cloud guys, now some of the telecom guys. We hear a lot of 5Gs. 5G is expected to make a significant change in enabling intelligent and distributed and connected world to solve some very fundamental needs to this intelligence. Faster speed, higher capacity, lower latency. And again, if you remember, some of the challenges presented 4 or 5 slides before were related to, I need to act now, I can't wait, so bandwidth, real time, etc. So 5G could and will be a key enabler in supporting intelligence at the edge. Now, we've looked at, so far, the macro driving forces. We looked at some challenges. We have looked at the opportunities. We have looked at some key industry leaders, what they are doing to address these things. Now, let's bring some use cases of how this whole ecosystem of industry is coming together to provide solutions in real cases. And here I picked, just to give you an idea, I picked one from appliance, from the consumer side. I picked a couple from the industrial side. And I picked one from the automotive side, just random, just so we can feel and touch where this is all going. Here, just mention a case on the home appliances. The use cases, the industry used to go, I want to go buy a fridge. I go to a local or a national distributor. I pick my fridge. I buy it. So the interaction has been between me and that distributor. Now, with this intelligent node, the opportunity created could open the door for example, the appliance makers or the consumer makers to have a connection directly with the consumer where they will understand the consumer needs, to the connectivity again. They will understand the consumer needs, creating a new opportunity for potentially a new stream of revenue. That new stream of revenue could come from services, could come from maintenance, could come from the ecosystem of providing, okay, I'm a fridge or I'm an oven, I'm going to connect you to the local store. I know the recipe you're going to buy. I know what's in this recipe. I will purchase it for you. So I will plan your whole week's dinner. I will purchase it for you. I'll connect you to right. So there's an opportunity here for service-oriented engagement with the consumer that was not there prior to this intelligence edge. The industry will significantly take advantage of the intelligent edge. And I'll give you an example here of motors, anything it could be. So you have sensors placed on the motor. They can monitor the vibration of the motor. They can monitor the temperature. They can monitor the magnetic field against an optimized user case. And any changes from this could trigger an alert, a change, an action, all done at the edge, saving the factory, the technician time when called on to address the situation. And all of this will be enabled by providing intelligence at the edge. Another case is related to, again, the smart industry. Here we take an example of an elevator. Optimizing the consumer satisfaction with making sure, anticipating a failure, calling on the technician, having the parts ordered, all of this without anybody or any person triggering that action. Another example of automotive. I mean, we've seen all the coverage on automotive, having sensors on all major parts in our car, anticipating a failure, ordering parts, maybe in the future going and fill the gas for us so we don't have to do it ourselves, as long as they don't take the fun out of driving, because I enjoy still driving my car. But the opportunity is there to take advantage of the intelligence at the edge. And transportation is a significant industry, and the opportunity is tremendous there. Another one also in smart industry, machine vision, and so on. So the examples are ample. The opportunity for all of us is great. Now, the execution is still short of the expectations. Even though the technology, I believe AI, intelligence at the edge today is what connectivity was probably 5 or 7 years ago. We are still at the beginning of implementation, but there's no doubt about the intelligence edge advantages that will bring to all of us. Now, we want to make sure all of this is great. The industrial area will take advantage of these significant improvements. But how about us consumers? So we're being watched, we are being taped, we are sending information about DNAs every day, so the data is there. So we have to make sure we act responsibly as an industry to make sure we keep the consumer trusting in what the data is doing. We have to be transparent in our approach so we don't lose the consumer. And if without the data, the fuel for this intelligence edge at the consumer side will not succeed. So as an industry, we have a responsibility to make sure we are transparent in how we are using the data and the benefit of using this data to the consumer. So with that in mind, I want to leave you with intelligence as distributed intelligence is here to stay. And I was very proud of our engagement collectively all together over the past 5 years with innovators, with startups, all collaborating together, trying to take advantage of this opportunity. And I thank you for listening this morning. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here at Internet of Things World 2019 with Dan Evans from Itron. Thanks for joining us.
No,
Could you
having me.
Not a problem. Could you start by telling us a bit about your role and your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm here representing Itron. Itron is a company that's focused on resourcefulness, so helping primarily utilities and cities around the world leverage their infrastructure and bring technology to bear to help them be more efficient when it comes to using water, gas, or electric infrastructure. My role specifically within Itron is focusing on a new line of business around smart cities, hence why we're here at IoT World. And smart cities to us means enabling cities to, again, improve the infrastructure that they have for their citizens. It started with smart lighting products that we came out with about 5 years ago, and now we're adding on to that some additional sensors that are beginning to enter the market. Smart cities is a kind of a buzzword that everybody has their own definition of, and we have worked with a strong partner ecosystem to enable their solutions on the network. So my responsibility is product management within Itron for smart cities.
And you're speaking at the event on mitigating risk with IoT. What points will you cover?
Yeah, so at this morning's keynote, the CEO of Itron, Philip Mazie, discussed how Itron is helping utilities respond to and react to natural disasters. So the focus was around some of our customers, such as Florida Power and Light and Tampa Electric. They're in the heart of Hurricane Alley there in Florida. And so using our technology, when the storms have hit, they've been able to recover in a much quicker manner. So mitigating that risk by knowing where your infrastructure is. Obviously, weather reports will give them information about where the storm might land. But more importantly, the sensors and the industrial IoT technology that we deploy with our customers allows them to know exactly where the outages have occurred. And more importantly, get the crews to those outages and restore the service to the customers as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. So that's an example that Philip talked about this morning. Another example I like to bring in from a smart cities perspective is we have a partner who has a gunshot detection system. So a risk to all of us, unfortunately, when we walk around some cities in some parts, is that there's crime out there. And so gunshot detection is a sensor that basically listens for sounds. When it hears a certain sound, there's a profile that it gets matched to, and it can actually identify the caliber of the bullet, the location of the shooter, and then send that alert to public safety officials so they can get first responders out there very quickly. So it's a risk that we help mitigate just from leveraging that infrastructure.
And you've already mentioned a couple of cities there. Which city do you think is setting the gold standard for smart city technology deployment?
Yeah, we've been working with a number of cities around the world. So I guess I would call out a couple. One is Glasgow in Scotland in the UK. And they have deployed our smart lighting infrastructure. So they've improved the lighting by adding LED lights, and then they've added on top of that. So that in and of itself has improved safety in the city for better lighting for citizens and visitors. And then also they added noise sensors, so they knew when there was any sort of aggression that might have been occurring in the city or car crashes, they could help identify those from noise sensors. And then also they have a traffic monitoring system. So they've deployed all of that, and then they're taking that data from the network and from the sensors and putting it into a data platform in an open data manner. So it's now available for developers or citizens to access and take and apply new applications on top of. So they've really kind of pushed the envelope, and they've done that 4 or 5 years ago. So they were really on the cutting edge. Another more recent example is a customer we have in Australia. It's Transport for Canberra and City Services. And so as the capital of Australia, they're obviously looking at driving innovation in the country and setting the standard themselves. So they will be deploying, again, based on a smart lighting infrastructure to establish a mesh network over the city, and then tying in other smart city sensors, things like smart parking solutions and smart traffic solutions, which one of the things that a lot of cities around the world struggle with is traffic. And so enabling solutions that identify where that traffic is and then helping solve that problem through smart parking, where you're getting information from sensors and then and that information will tell you where's their availability and where's their not availability, and then giving wayfinding directions to the drivers to the right part of the city to park. And that'll prevent the congestion that every city is facing.
And now we've covered multiple continents, so how do smart cities in the United States compare to the rest of the world?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. In the United States, what we've seen, and this is probably coming from our heritage in the utility background, but cities and utilities having to work very collaboratively. Outside the U.S., it tends to be more that you just deal with the city, and they can, establish all the infrastructure they need. Here in the U.S., a lot of that infrastructure is owned by the utilities, so it becomes a collaboration, and it begins, again, with street lighting as the easy example, and in today's world where a lot of those lights are getting upgraded to LED. This is an opportunity for the city to become smart, and so they really want to take advantage of that. And oftentimes the utilities own those street lights, and so they're having to work with the utilities to do that. And then on the other side is the city wants some services and some additional sensors that we've talked about, parking or traffic or air quality. And they want to enable that on the same network, and the network being sort of managed by the utility. So it becomes a quid pro quo, sort of give and take for working together. The utilities need the cities certainly to get their infrastructure out there, and they're servicing the cities, citizens of that city, and the city, needs some of these additional high-tech services that are coming out of this IoT World show and other places. So that to be able to work together is key. Like I said, that's probably one of the main differences between what we see in the United States versus outside the United States.
And speaking of the show, what's been your favorite part of the event?
Well, this is like the 3rd or 4th year I think that I've been here, and so it's the thing I take away every year is this mashup, to use a word, that brings together sort of small companies who have just new ideas. They're sort of in that startup phase, with larger companies like Itron or big worldwide known brands, bringing those together in one place and having those conversations about how does innovation really kickstart to the next level, and not having companies getting stuck in their ways. So I've had some really great conversations on the show floor here, and some of the sessions that I've been able to attend, are hitting on some of these very futuristic topics, but we'll be there before you know it. So that's always the exciting part about coming to IoT World.
Well, it's great to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi, I'm Maggie Miller here at IoT World, and I'm with Francesco Dodo. He is with ST Microelectronics. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
So you spoke here about embedded intelligence. So tell us, what is that?
So ST Microelectronics is actually focusing a lot on the intelligent nodes, embedded nodes. And today we came actually with a new tool. It's called STM32Cube It is basically a way to bring intelligence from the cloud down to the node. And we have some example here that we can show. So typically in the experience of customers or products where you need to bring intelligence into an end product, you always have to capture data, then level those data to meet your use case, then train a sort of algorithms that can do that. And then finally, here is the hard part for an engineer. How do I port the model that I train in a standard framework, things like TensorFlow and so on an embedded node like this guy? So that's where we come with our tool that allows basically to bring the engineering time and efforts down to a single click, bringing algorithms from traditional frameworks, neural network frameworks, down to a microcontroller, which is our product. And I have a demo from here that I can give to you guys. For example, with this simple demo, we can pretend actually to have a letter, and you will see here that the system can do character recognition. For example, we had a P letter that was recognized and an I letter. And all of this is done straight into the node.
And tell us some of the use cases.
Perfect, that's a very good question because it brings me to the next demo where now we look at the overall artificial intelligence into the node that brings not just the neural network models running or the machine learning running into the node, but it goes up to the cloud. And you see over here in our ecosystem, we're looking into the embedded nodes. So where you get a lot of sensors. Right now we're monitoring vibration of two motors, collecting those data, bringing through a gateway up to the cloud. And you see here the kind of the diagram. So you see the two nodes over here, the gateway and the cloud. And we're able actually to monitor those data in real time. You're seeing actually right now, back in a dashboard running on AWS, the entire data, vibrational data coming from those two motors directly into the cloud. How we do that now and why ST is unique into this? Because we're bringing together our partnership with AWS that goes straight into our nodes, and it's powered either through microprocessors when we go to gateways or microcontrollers when we go directly to the node. Then the power of the sensors allow us to get this information, process them directly at the node, and then send only the meaningful information directly to the cloud. So we offload the cloud. And all of this is available to our customers. This is through SDKs, evaluation boards, and of course, all the ST products that really brings the value to the application.
That's great. And there's a lot of buzz happening at your booth here at IoT
Yes.
World. It's exciting. So what is your main message?
Actually, the message this year that we're bringing over here is how ST allow actually the industries, several industries, to meet really innovation. And even if you walk through the booth, you see this kind of layout over here where we have an intersection through different industries, like for example, the industrial world, personal electronics with things like watches or wearable devices, but also the more traditional computer market, all connected with innovation through our products. Sensors, connectivities, microcontrollers, and power, of course, to make sure that everything can be powered up properly.
Wow, exciting time. So thank you for sharing all of this with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Maggie Miller, and we're here at IoT World, and I'm with Larry Deshawn. He is the CEO of Avis Budget Group. It's so exciting to have you here.
Thank you very much, Maggie.
So your panel this morning was pretty exciting as well. You talked about reinventing rental. So what exactly does that mean?
Well, basically what it means is actually leveraging technology to transform the rental process or how people consume mobility and put it in the hands of the consumer so that we make it simple, we make it transparent, we allow consumers to select the vehicle that they want all on their Avis app. And that way they can actually extend their rental, they can change their locations they want to return. Everything is at in their hands, if you will.
And what's unique about the way your company approaches IoT implementation?
Well, we're probably one of the largest fleets of connected cars. First thing first is we need to connect our vehicles so that we can actually start talking to our vehicles and collecting data from them so that we can streamline and drive efficiencies into the business, but also offer more products for our consumers as well. So we're far out ahead of really anyone on connecting our vehicles. We have over 100,000 cars connected. This year we'll have over 200,000 cars connected, on our way to connecting our fleet by 2020 entirely globally. And with that comes the ability to be able to analyze data, to be able to turn the data into action so that we can actually offer products and services to consumers that you couldn't do today.
Wow. And one of the hottest topics right now, autonomous driving. So I have to ask you, what does Avis have planned?
Well, as you know, we are actually handling Waymo's autonomous vehicles. So we are actually the fleet manager, if you will, for their cars, because we wanted to learn early on to kind of, what this would look like to manage cars that have that kind of technology on them. At some point, we will offer autonomous vehicles in our fleet, and we will also manage autonomous vehicles for others as well. So when the driver is finally removed from the process, there's a supply chain that's needed. The driver today is providing that supply chain, but in the future, they won't be there. So the supply chain has to be managed, and we actually manage one of the largest fleets in the world. That's an internal skill that we've had for decades, and that's something that we can provide for others as well.
So a lot to look forward to. Well, thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hi, I'm Maggie Miller here at IoT World, and I'm with James Kilfeather. He is of Globalstar, so welcome.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the time and being here.
Well, tell me a little bit more about these customized satellite IoT solutions.
So Globalstar is not only an IoT solutions provider, but we're a global network. And we provide enabling technologies such as chips and modules and antennas. And we work with partners who can customize solutions to address specific market needs. That allows them to focus on their market verticals and do customized solutions to address the people that they know best.
Any use cases you can share with us on this technology?
One of the most interesting and newest ones is something that applies right here to the state of California. I think everyone remembers the Camp Fire as being one of the most destructive wildfires in California's history. Well, we're working with a local partner in California to instrument the high voltage transmission lines. And that allows PG&E, the local utility provider, to monitor those transmission lines and detect when there's any issues, such as what happened during the Camp Fire, when a power line was actually impacted by a tree falling on the lines and causing a very destructive wildfire.
Wow. So what do customers need to think about when they're deciding on these connectivity options?
I think they should look at what kind of network they're attaching to. I think they should look at what the capabilities of that network are and how that network partner can help them enable a solution to address their particular market verticals.
And here we are at IoT World. So any cool takeaways you're getting from the conference this year?
So it's obvious that IoT is everywhere. It's pervading every individual market. Globalstar is not only a solutions provider, but we're an enabler, and we're looking for any partner with great innovative ideas to come talk to us, and we'll help them get where they need to go.
Perfect. So contact this guy, right?
That's right.
Well, thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Maggie.
Hi, I'm here at Internet of Things World 2019 with Chad Donovan from CSG. Thanks for joining us. Chad, could you please start telling us a bit about your role and your company?
Sure. As Jeremy said, my name's Chad Donovan. I'm with CSG and run our product management organization. Really in my role, I focus on how we continue to evolve our products and services to support new industries and the emergence of new technologies across the landscape. Specifically, CSG focuses on how our customers engage with their consumers throughout the entire life cycle of the relationship. So that can be anything from onboarding through ongoing conversations to ordering and provisioning of services, all the way into invoicing and finally the delivery of a bill and the collection of fees. So as we think about the emergence of IoT and really what that means, we're helping operators and other IoT service platforms start to think through the business models that get extended to the edge devices and the edge ecosystems that are starting to evolve as a result of the IoT products and services that are coming to market.
Great. And you're speaking on Procurement 4.0 later on. What will you cover?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic for CSG. We've got a couple of different product lines that kind of fit into the digital supply chain aspect of Procurement 4.0. First and foremost, we have large print and mail facilities throughout the U.S. So if you receive a bill from a cable operator or from a telecom operator, odds are it comes from a company like CSG. So within our print facilities, we're using a lot of new digital technologies, in fact, machine learning, to help us understand the quality of the print jobs that are coming out of the factory. So it's really a nice technology that allows us to, one, ensure that we've got quality products that are being delivered to the end consumers on behalf of our customers, and helping lower our manufacturing costs. On the other side of it, we've worked with media companies for years in helping them distribute content through the IP infrastructure. If you think kind of the supply chain for media, it's really more from brick and mortar stores. I'm probably showing my age a little bit with Tower Records and Blockbuster, where you used to go and pick up your physical goods from those brick and mortar stores. The advent of the internet has really shifted the way that we distribute media content to consumers. And if you think about that, we have to really understand what the digital rights of that content looks like. If a consumer is watching it in their home, the digital rights might be very different than when they're watching it on their mobile device or when they're sharing it with a friend or a family member. So as we think about the digital aspects to the supply chain of media content, lots of new rules get introduced as we change the way we distribute and manage that content.
And when it comes to digitizing supply chains, who's setting the gold standard?
Well, gosh, I think the first that comes to mind is Amazon, right? So obviously I'm an Amazon consumer, and they move from Amazon Prime from 2-day delivery down to 1-day delivery. I've even noticed situations where I might have something in my shopping cart and they've already got the shipment loaded and ready for me before I order it. So they're clearly using machine learning and things like those techniques to drive the changes. The other thing that we're seeing, though, I think that's really interesting is the parts of the supply chain around fulfillment. So CSG for years has provided tools and software to help deliver goods and services to the home. And I think if you think about the way that you ordered goods and services from a telecom operator or a cable operator in the past, you probably got a 2 or 4 hour appointment window to have the installer come to your home. Well, with the advent of IoT and connected devices, we're seeing that ecosystem change to be really more on demand. So as goods and services need service repair, we can actually predict that service repair and reach out to a consumer before the need arises on their behalf. And I think those parts of the supply chain are really starting to change and morph because of the IoT technologies.
And kind of expanding on that, what's your favorite example of business transformation delivering ROI?
Yeah, for us, connecting things is interesting, but because we live in the part of the ecosystem with regard to software on how you engage consumers and monetize that experience to create real business value, I think the introduction of new business processes, really the business cases that apply behind the connectivity are what's really interesting to CSG. So, we are working with a service delivery platform company right now that is enabling their platform to connect dumpsters. You're like, well, connecting dumpsters, how does that create additional value in the ecosystem? It might be nice to know that the dumpster's full, but we're actually providing connectivity that helps them streamline when they send people to empty the rollaway dumpsters, or how they monitor the security on those dumpsters. And that creates additional value in their ecosystem in which they can charge more money and lower their cost for the services that they provide. So, we're really looking at for those kind of business models that are emerging that allow us to then come in with the software assets that extend the evolution and the creation of that business value.
Nice. And what's been your favorite part of the event so far?
Really for me, it's the emerging technologies that you see. I think again, we're getting past we can connect everything with a chipset or a SIM card or a protocol to what's the business model and the business ecosystem that exists around that connected device. I saw a keynote yesterday around a parking meter company that they're able to monitor their parking meters, and they really use that for theft prevention, right? But what they realize is that we can actually detect ground swells and ground movement and become really a first alert system for natural disasters like earthquakes. And so starting to see how those types of use cases emerge on the back of maybe the first set of use cases is where I think we're going to start to really have some breakthroughs. I think the use of IoT in municipalities so we become smarter and safer across our communities is one of the greatest untapped potentials of this technology.
Great, thank you, Chad.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's get into it. So this is Keith, CEO of Backtrack. What we're going to talk about today a little bit is the product development process when you're working with outside developers. And Keith has an extremely interesting product that I thought I'd have him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about Backtrack and the things they're doing to help people on their journey to sobriety. So Keith, tell us just a little bit about Backtrack.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Again, Keith Nothaker, CEO of Backtrack. We make breath alcohol testers and wearable alcohol detectors. I'm looking out, and it looks like a lot of people who are 0.00 BAC right now. Hopefully, drinks in the back later.
Right,
but,
right.
But
Zero now.
We're experts in that. We make Bluetooth-connected breath alcohol testers that connect to a smartphone, and people can estimate their alcohol level.
So, okay, for reference, this was the state of play not that many years ago. This would be something that you would wear on your ankle. This would monitor your BAC level. This would probably be radio, I guess, at that time. Yeah. So this would be transmitted over radio. Huge, wear on your ankle type deal. Maybe on your wrist if you want to have like just a huge deal. And you could see on the inside, I mean, there's just a ton happening. Like this was what the world looked like at that time. And this is extremely intrusive for a person that's struggling with alcohol. That's probably a court-mandated thing that you have to wear this in order to be able to drive whatever. Keith, can you show us what it looks like now? What is the state of play in 2019?
Sure. So we've been developing a prototype for a while now, and I'm wearing one right now. So this is transdermally measuring any alcohol that's coming out through my skin. So this is, again, not out for public use yet, but this is something that we've been working on for a long time, and will transfer your data through a smartphone to the cloud.
So, and if I understand correctly, transdermal, we're not talking about, so there's no breath here, right? This is, it's measuring, what is it measuring exactly?
When you drink alcohol, about 1% of the alcohol you consume is transpired through your skin. And not a lot of people realize that. People see it most frequently if they have a lot to drink, and you say, wow, this guy over here, he smells like alcohol.
This guy smells like
That
Jaeger.
reason is because the alcohol is actually coming out of your skin. So we decided to take our sensor technology that we had with breath test devices, miniaturize it, make it attractive for consumer use, and make it something that people would want to use.
So, okay, question. You've taken this company a long way. So you founded this company 14 years ago or so. Kind of a unique Silicon Valley story, no outside investment. You've had to do this yourself, which has meant that you've had to figure out you've had to solve some difficult problems. You haven't been able to just throw huge money at development. You've had to solve it. Can you talk a little bit about, as you're developing technology that doesn't exist, hardware is hard. Everybody here knows hardware is hard. What have been some of the things you've learned in the product development process as you've worked with outside vendors? What are some mistakes you've made? What are some things you've learned that works? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Ryan, you mentioned one of the key parts of our company. We've never taken outside funding before. So we've always had to be very, very focused on what is the true need? What does the customer want? And we've been very lean in developing MVP products. What's the minimum viable product that we can make that is accurate, reliable, and that we can put out there for real use? So finding a partner that has similar principles and can really execute and not go run off in one direction and spend a bunch of money or a bunch of time that way, we're focused. We know what we have to build, and we need a partner that can build it quickly, on budget, and make it work best in class.
Interesting. Talk a little bit about, so you've been in IoT since before IoT was IoT. What have you seen develop over time? What are some of the things as you're seeing this space? This is obviously a large device, and it does less than yours, right? And it's significantly larger. Can you talk about some of the major evolutions you've seen and how you guys have incorporated that into some of the products you've rolled out?
Yeah, sure. So we made dumb breathalyzers for a long time. We made breath alcohol testers that would show your blood alcohol content on the device. And we put out the first smartphone connected breathalyzer in 2013. I have it in my pocket here. So we took what was big, chunky law enforcement technology, and again, we shrunk it down and we said, hey, anybody can keep this in their pocket or in their car. And with IoT, and having access to people's smartphones and their locations and doing that, we've been able to come up with features that we never would have created with a dumb breathalyzer, a standalone. And so, for example, we leverage the screen size now on everyone's device, and we have more information about somebody's alcohol level. We have a patented feature called Zero Line that will show people how long until their BAC returns to zero. And it's something that it didn't make sense to have on the standalone Backtrack breathalyzer, but when you're connected to a smartphone and you have all this technology built in there that you don't even have to sell to the customer. It opens up all these new feature possibilities.
Interesting. And you mentioned like what I would call miniaturization. So taking something that used to be much larger. When I think of a breathalyzer, I definitely don't think of like something that looks more akin to a Tic Tac container.
Thank you, I think.
What would you say? Talk about that process of like taking an existing technology, trying to improve it, but also shrinking it down. From an engineering perspective, what are some of the things you guys have had to solve for or challenges that you've had to overcome? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that everybody on a design team has a slightly different incentive. So one engineer might want to maximize this part of the equation, and somebody else might say this. And it takes a quarterback who's really involved in all the different parts, or really more of a head coach, who can say, you know what, we are going to make our BOM cost fractionally more because that'll allow us to shrink the device down a little bit more. So you have these trade-offs all the time, and if you have the wrong people making the calls, you're going to have something that might not perfectly answer the customer need. It might not be a commercial success. So you really have to be thoughtful about, like I said before, what are you trying to accomplish? How cost effectively can you build that? Who's your partner that can help you build that? And then you have a product, then the fun begins. Then you have to sell it and try to make money.
So you talked on the front side about working with leveraging third-party vendors and partners and things as you're developing technology. Can you talk about some unsuccess stories, times where you thought you were getting into something that was going to work and it didn't, and maybe why it was unsuccessful? Maybe something that folks hear as they're thinking about a hardware product they want to develop, things to avoid, things that you wouldn't have thought of at that time, but now hey, I don't think this is going to work, and here's why.
Yeah, you always have to work with the best people. I'm not saying anything that people don't know. We want to work with experts in our space. So whether it is internal knowledge that we've developed that relates to an alcohol sensor, because that's a tricky thing. Believe it or not, it's a hard problem to make an accurate, stable alcohol tester. So understanding what type of knowledge you have internally and the people who have that knowledge and leveraging that in the best possible way, that's just been critical for our success. And a long time ago, when we thought we had people in that space related to the alcohol sensor technology that maybe weren't as expert as we thought, that sets you back years. So for us specifically, and something that's so important and as an alcohol tester, right, making sure people have accurate results, having that expertise is crucial.
And I mentioned that you guys have been in the space for a while. Backtrack is one of the OGs of the IoT world. What would you tell somebody today in 2019 that's thinking about developing a hardware product, a software-enabled hardware product today? They're just getting started. They're thinking about how to attack the problem. So you're answering in the abstract, just a theoretical problem. What guidance would you give a person like that?
Yeah, I'm all about the MVP. I've been dollar constrained forever. Again, never had outside capital. It seems fun to have tens of millions of dollars and raise money from the valley, but when you're really focused on a customer need, that forces you to build just the smallest iteration you can and get it out there to people. Just with any technology, Arduino and anything to prototype something, the bar is so low.
One of the things that we've been hearing more, so we do a lot of software development work. We are an IoT software development shop. We software enable hardware devices. One of the things that we're hearing more and more and pushing, I think, more and more is this idea of an MMP. So MVP is like, let's get a couple units in the wild in trusted spaces, and then MMP is minimum marketable product, something you can actually stand behind and market and maybe warranty and things like that. Did Backtrack take an approach like that at all? Have you guys had an in-between step there between full commercialization and let's get some things out there? Was that something you guys ever experimented with?
Yeah, we have to be careful, again, because of the type of product we make.
Right.
Device where we have to register with the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA.
Right.
So we have to be careful what we put out for commercialization and make sure that it is accurate, reliable, and safe for people to use. I'd say certainly internally we think about that bar that you mentioned. What is the minimum marketable product? What incremental features by having a smartphone kind of connected product will make it more marketable, will allow us to double our margin because we have additional features. We grew into having a service where somebody could monitor somebody else's alcohol level. And as we move to software, it's sort of a software program that's hardware enabled, that provides tremendous value to people. Especially people who have a serious alcohol or addiction problem, they can monitor somebody else's sobriety remotely. This could have never been done 10 years ago before everybody had a smartphone with GPS, with a high resolution camera, with the Bluetooth connectivity to a backtrack. So I think it's so easy now to integrate everything together and create real value for customers.
So for those of you who maybe don't recognize the Backtrack brand name, but you feel like you've met Keith somewhere before and you can't place it, Keith is frequently called upon by a lot of the daytime judge shows, Judge Judy and things like that, and Backtrack is asked to preside over various alcohol-related cases. What can you tell us about those appearances? Have they impacted product development in any way or had some unexpected outcome on the business that you can share with us?
I wish I could claim that I was on Judge Judy, some other shows, Dr. Phil and the doctors, but it's all about being out there and seeing how people react, seeing what do they want, what are their problems, really like living and breathing it. I remember when we were developing a product a decade ago, and we would tweak the firmware and collect some data during the daytime and adjust it, and we'd take it out at night, and we have to go out to bars, and we would offer to pay people's alcohol tabs if they would blow into our product. And people thought it was a trick at first. They're like, you're gonna pay for my alcohol, and I get to blow into this breathalyzer. And we said, absolutely. So we were out there living it. We were adjusting based on data we collected that night. Again, those were the earlier days. We have a more rigorous test system now, but that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
We also, this was before either of us was married or had kids, so we could go do product development in a bar. It was a lot easier to do at that time.
Now my wife is the subject more oftentimes than me getting to go out, so yes, things have changed.
I definitely want to leave at least a minute for a question or two, but I guess a final question would be, as you look back at the what you've been through, it's very rare in the Valley to self-fund and things like this. What has been, do you think, the biggest challenge that you've had to solve for, whether it's outside partner or anything else that you could share with folks about founding an IoT company that has made it, big time? You guys are doing great. What's been the biggest thing that you've had to overcome, you think? Single biggest hurdle?
Yeah. You said it before. Everybody knows it. Hardware is hard.
Yeah.
It's expensive. It's really expensive. And so we were only able to put towards development the money that we made selling other devices. So that's been very hard. And I think that's caused us to have a slower path versus a hockey stick and straight up. But that's allowed us to develop expertise throughout the years, to really take our time, understand the fundamentals, work with great groups. And Ryan, we work with your company, and you guys have really helped us. Vari is here, and you guys have been fantastic for us in accomplishing the goals that we need to accomplish, doing it on time and on budget, and that's allowed us to really scale. Our products are in major national retailers. Our products are in Best Buy stores. Who would have thought you could go into a Best Buy and get a breath alcohol tester? But we've been able to do that because we can accomplish things efficiently, on budget, and really commercialize them quickly.
Should we go to the audience for one question? We have 2.5 minutes. Anybody out there? We got a gentleman in the back. Here, you take mine because you're going to answer it, I'm sure.
Hi, my name is Tori Smith. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Endiotics. We're making tiny medical robots that you swallow, drive them around in your guts, diagnosing and treating illness in real time. Any advice for someone that's making a device that has the power to save someone's life, or if hacked or misused, take someone's life? Thank you.
No, you.
I thought I had a tough challenge. You are really, you're swallowing a lot. There we go. Any advice? Despite, I obviously don't know what your funding levels are, what your budgets are. There's always the bar that's the regulatory bar, that's the legal bar, that's the public acceptance bar. So you know, at times you want to think, oh, do we have to do that? But you do. You have to understand from the get-go all the hoops you have to jump across throughout the hardware development cycle, and even when you're out selling. I think of all the times that we've had a regulatory issue that is more money than we thought, more time, not necessarily in a bad way, but just being aware of that to put a device out there. Because for everything I said about having an MVP and just hacking something together, we're in the United States. We have to put out an accurate, trusting, reliable product. So it helps to understand what bar you have to cross at the very beginning.
I think we're at time. You know, I would just say that one of the things that I think is remarkable about your product and also makes it so hard is being off by a little bit matters a lot in your business, right? There's these thresholds. You're on the wrong side of that threshold and you're in big trouble. You know, can you quickly, in 10 seconds, talk to us about that level of accuracy and how you, as a culture, can you talk about how you've solved for that at Backtrack?
I mean, you nailed it with culture. You have to have that culture and embed it with everybody, everywhere, and say, hey, this matters. Let's not worry about this error, these devices. Let's worry about every single thing, every result, every customer. So that's critical, getting that out to your entire organization.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Keith from Backtrack.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maggie Miller. We're here at the IoT Awards, and I'm with the winners of IBM. You guys won the IoT Merger or Acquisition Award, so tell us how you feel.
Oh, this is fantastic. It just solidifies what we did almost a year ago when we bought this company.
Great. And could you talk a little bit more about, what really set you apart in this competition?
Yeah, I think from an IBM perspective, we invested very early in the IoT space, put forward billions of dollars really to set us apart as IBM in the market. And I think that's paid dividends in terms of what we've been able to do for our clients. And I think the Aniqua acquisition just was additive to that.
So tell me a little bit more about what you're doing with IoT at IBM.
Well, at IBM, we've got several platforms that we use. We have our IoT platform, which we're actually up for an award for that as well. We're doing predictive analytics. We're doing prescriptive analytics. We're predicting failures on critical assets. Al?
Really, I think IBM's strength has always been our science, and that's always really fortified our brand. And this is really more of the same, where we utilize our science to the best of our ability. For us, IoT isn't about how many devices you can proliferate. It's about how you utilize science effectively to get to put the right number of devices, to get the right level of instrumentation. And I think that's really where you get the power of IoT and the return on data. So I think at the end of the day, everything that you see us release in terms of prediction, machine learning, deep learning applications associated with it, even as you get to applications around drone platforms, what have you, it's all based off of derivatives of our science and how we can apply them to be able to make the world a better place.
Great. Well, thank you guys for sharing, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
We're here at the IoT Awards, and I'm with Matt Rose. He just won Startup of the Year, so tell me, how do you feel?
Oh, it's great. On behalf of our employees, our investors, our strategic partner, Creator Water Industries, we're absolutely thrilled to win this award.
So tell me a little bit about what you think sets you apart in this category.
Well, I think that we focus on low power wide area networks and building devices that can connect water meters and water devices to networks, and that we've been a leader in that space and we're getting recognition for it, and we're very thrilled.
All right, and before you go, just tell me a little bit about your company.
Well, we build intelligent water management platforms for commercial and industrial buildings. We hook up their plumbing infrastructure to networks and then perform analytics on the data that we receive in real time. And then that helps customers like Costco save 22% on their water consumption. And we're also an MGM International, and very thrilled to be able to receive such an award for our work.
Well, congratulations again, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Great.
Great.
We're here at the IoT Awards with Ohad Zero. Tell us, what did you win?
We won the award for Best Enterprise IoT Deployment for our connected vehicle fleet.
What set you apart?
A lot of great companies out there, but I think what we did was we deployed at scale, right? We have over 100,000 cars. We have them connected globally, and we're actually practically using that data to get operational savings and to improve our P&L.
Great, and tell us a little bit about Avis Budget Group. What are you guys doing that's really innovative right now?
Well, Avis Budget Group obviously is it's a company that's been around for a while, known for car rental and car share since our Zipcar acquisition. And what we're really doing now, we're part of a transformation. We're moving from a rental world to a mobility world. And to do that, that starts with digitizing our entire operations. At the core of that is the connected fleet, which I think really talks to this IoT deployment.
Great, well, congratulations again and enjoy the night.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
We're here at the IoT Awards with another winner. This is for the achievement in IoT integrations. Siemens, congratulations. Tell us a little bit more about how you feel about this award.
Thank you, Maggie. I mean, we're super proud of this achievement, the award. I mean, I'm representing the team here. I'm very proud of the team. So this is for you all out there, right? So thank you very much. We feel very proud of this.
Is there something that you really think set you apart when it came to this competition?
Yeah, I think it's really the hard work that everyone put in at the team the last couple of years, and this is really now the result of that. So it's really the team that made the difference.
And your hard work paid off. So congratulations, and thank you for stopping by.
Thank you, Maggie.
Hi, we're here at the IoT Awards, and you just won for Best Consumer IoT Solution. So tell us, how do you feel?
Fantastic. Woo woo, we won.
Well, tell me about your company and your solution.
Yeah, so we're Finn. We're based in Los Angeles. So we have a consumer product that attaches to the main, it's an intelligent water sensor. It attaches to the main water line and can tell you how much water you're using, if you have any leaks, and you can remotely turn the water off.
Very cool solution. So what do you think really set you apart?
I think we just have such a global mission of saving water for the world, and that's what our mission statement is, to help the world speak water. So we're really excited to be making a dent in such an important issue.
What a great cause, and congratulations, and enjoy the night.
Thank you so much. Really excited. Appreciate it.
I'm Maggie Miller here at the IoT Awards, and we're with the winner of the Best Edge Computing Award. Well, tell us a little bit about Dell Technologies winning this.
Well, we have a pretty comprehensive solution at the edge, but it's still flattering to get the peers kind of nominate and win this. It was unexpected, but we have a great team with a great story, platform, software, and hardware for the edge. So it's good to get this.
Yeah. Is there anything you really think set you apart?
I think it's my good looks.
I think you're right. What a great answer.
No, it's the team. We have one of the few companies that have both the platform, the software and the hardware, which is important for the customers. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations and enjoy the night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome again.
Thank you so much.
Here we are at the IoT Awards again with another IBM winner. So tell us, what is this award?
This is the Industrial IoT Platform Awards. So we were awarded the best industrial IoT platform amongst all of our peers worldwide.
What do you think really set you apart? Because this is a big award.
Oh, this is huge. We started IoT focused on industrial, all industrial use cases, industrial based. And really our hallmark in IBM is all around enterprise and how we really do things to focus on our customers and the success of our clients. So this is really a testament to kind of our principles and everything that we're built on. So it's very exciting.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy the award.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Maggie Miller here at the IoT Awards, and I'm with the winner of the Best IoT Connectivity Solution. So tell me, how do you feel?
I feel great. It's exciting for our company, for all the people that made this happen. I love accepting this award.
Well, tell me about your company.
Well, our company is in the LoRaWAN space, and so we operate cloud-based software and services for LoRaWAN protocol. And I think what allowed us to win this Best Connectivity Award is the innovation that we made called the LVN, which really allows for the global crowdsourcing of an IoT network. And so we're really excited about the recognition we're receiving for that.
Great. Well, then congratulations and enjoy the rest of the night.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're here at the IoT Awards with another winner. So tell me a little bit about the award you just won.
So I'm accepting this on behalf of Kevin Brown, who is the CXO Solution Provider of the Year, and it's really an honor to win this award. And it's taken a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, and it's just amazing that Schneider Electric was recognized for this.
And what do you think really sets you all apart?
I think it's a commitment to innovation, a commitment to putting customer first.
Well, that's well said. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, hello, Joanna.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome. We are here at the IoT Awards. And tell me, what did you win?
I won CXO of the Year for the enterprise.
That's exciting. How do you feel and what do you think set you apart?
I was really nervous, and I'm still nervous, but it's on behalf of our entire company. I felt a lot of pressure to represent Chamberlain Group well. And, one of the reasons I think that we won is that the whole company has been working really hard to make garage door openers relevant, which a lot of people say, how are garage door openers an IoT product? And we recently launched a solution where you could get package delivery into your garage if you're an Amazon Prime user. Yeah. And so one of the ways that you can make a garage door opener relevant to the Internet of Things is to get your package delivered into the garage instead of your doorstep. So I think that was probably a major contributor.
That's brilliant. I want one now.
I can help you with that.
Yes, well, congratulations. It's so good to see the excitement in your face. It must be just an honor.
Thank you. It is an honor. I'm really honored. And I just want to say it was an incredible field of finalists. I was honored to be included among them, and I congratulate them all.
Wonderful. Well, enjoy the night.
Thank you. You too. My name's Joanna Sahovich, and I'm with the Chamberlain Group. We're the world's largest manufacturer of garage door openers, telephone entry systems, and gate opening systems. I'm the CEO, but my son likes to tell people that I'm in sales or I help the engineers because he's embarrassed by my job title. So one of the interesting points that came up during the panel around the intersection of IT and OT was around who owns the data. And numerous members of the panel had different perspectives about ownership. My preference is that it's a pricing discussion. And there's a difference between whether you just want to have access to the data, whether you just want to own an application, or whether you want exclusivity. And that needs to be a negotiation between the provider and the user. I think it's difficult to establish one process that would fit all companies. One of the things that we found as a traditional company that has manufactured durable devices for decades is that we still need some of our legacy processes, like a stage gate NPD process, in order to develop the millions of hardware goods that we manufacture and ship. However, there are other processes, like an agile software development process, that we also need to get good at. And those skills are exactly the opposite of the traditional legacy manufacturing NPD processes. So in many ways, it's incumbent upon us to become bilingual and learn how to continue to keep the trains running on time while also being agile enough to develop software, maintain it, and update it on a continuous basis. Now, my company had that same problem when I arrived about 2.5 years ago. The legacy business felt that the IoT stuff was costly and it was a distraction and there was no way to make money off of it. And so what we ended up having to do is understand what sort of value are we creating for the end user, what need are we meeting for our customers, and then figure out how do we extract and share in the value that we're creating. Once we understood what value we were creating and what sort of revenue model we could build around that value, it became a lot more accepted all the way up in the company, including the executive ranks. So in my view, a lot of companies experience pilot purgatory because they have a regular business that they're trying to run. And these new ideas that are sometimes 2 or 3rd horizon out are a distraction at best. They're a threat to your legacy business at worst. And so the distraction is people just don't want to spend any time on it because they're too busy conducting their daily jobs. The threat is people don't want to disrupt themselves, the thing that they're nurturing and growing every single day. What we've done at Chamberlain Group is we've created an emerging business line of business. So it's outside of the regular business. And that emerging business LOB has the charter to take a look at Horizon 3 and Horizon 2 ideas, incubate them, decide whether they're viable or not, and bring them to the point where they can be transferred to a legacy LOB or line of business once it's mature enough. But they do have the charter. They can disrupt our company if needed. The new technology that we talk about all the time in Chamberlain Group, given that we're the world's largest manufacturer of garage door openers, among other things, is autonomous vehicles and shared vehicles. We think all the time about autonomous vehicles and shared vehicles create a shrinking customer base for garages or for residential garages. That would have been a huge problem 2.5 years ago when we viewed ourselves simply as an access company or an access controls company. But now that we've broadened our vision to we give the power of access and knowledge, we really are able to look at what do these technology trends represent in terms of opportunity and how can we apply our technology to end users to create solutions around autonomous and shared vehicles. The entire event has been fun, but the thing that I enjoyed the most so far was sitting on the keynote panel discussing the intersection of IT versus OT. There were so many different perspectives around, from manufacturers to consultants to technology leaders in other countries, and I think it really highlights the challenge of partnerships are going to be the biggest thing to obstruct or help that divide be bridged. And hearing everybody's differing perspectives tells me that getting people together, all the different players together to create one solution will probably be our biggest challenge. If I had to describe the IoT World event in 3 words, I think it would be curiosity, energy, and growth.
My organization is the Colorado Department of Transportation. I am the director of the RoadX program there, which is all about innovation, technology, and transportation. So excited to be here. Thank you. It's all about different aspects of connectivity, mobility, all of these type of things. We know that people have great ideas, but they don't have a place to deploy them sometimes. So we in Colorado are giving a space where people can deploy new technologies and show the value they can bring, and then have that first client so they can sell to more people. The RoadX initiative was started by our former executive director, now the CEO of ITS America, Shailen Bhatt. So it really was kind of his brainchild, and he just gave me the ball to run with it. It's a unique thing to Colorado. I don't think that any other state DOT has something similar to it, and we're very proud of it. Program and the projects that I've had underneath the program have been extremely challenging, but with great challenges come great rewards. So I would strongly encourage other folks to develop a program similar to RoadX if they have the capability, interest, and desire to play in the mobility space. I think cities can benefit dramatically by embarking upon programs similar to RoadX, where they start to embrace future technologies today, because it's going to make the road safer, it's going to improve business, it's going to improve the economic health of places that start to deploy these technologies sooner than later. You know, that's a very interesting question. I'm not quite sure why pilots that other places start kind of fall short and don't get followed through on, but I can tell you that what we're doing is we're not doing pilots, we're doing demonstrations. We're sure that this technology is mature enough that we want to put it into action. And I think that maybe that's part of the root cause, is you really need to be committed to these type of things and follow through, not just do it for a week or two, then, lose interest and do something else. The favorite part of the IoT World event, the Connected Vehicle event, is really just networking with people, seeing all of the exciting tech. I mean, it is moving so fast. If you don't come to these things and see what's happening, you're going to be behind. If I had to describe the event in 3 words, I would have to say educational, energetic, and enthusiastic.
Hi, my name is Wayne Pekoski. I'm a developer advocate at Google. I talk about Android things and the Assistant, and we're all about teaching developers about how they can build for the Internet of Things using our developer tools. So what I've been talking about today is giving guidelines about how developers can get started with Android things, a little bit more about the platform, so that they can get started and go about building their own products. Okay, so the Internet of Things is all about, there's going to be consumer devices everywhere. Like in the past, cell phones were popular. IoT devices are going to be even more popular. People are going to have 10 or 100 devices around them. And so it's all about building this ecosystem of devices so that people can get things done. It can solve problems on a day-to-day basis and, connect them all together so that these devices are more powerful than just the sum of their parts. I think the Internet of Things is going to change the world because you're going to have computing everywhere and you're not going to have to bring out a laptop or a phone. It's just going to be something that happens automatically. It's going to do the right thing. And this is going to be really good for the public, for consumers, and it's going to be able to help you out in ways that you didn't even think possible. So I think in the future, we're going to look back on this and go, wow, how did we ever live with these magical devices? Some of these devices are still coming, but there's definitely a lot of really exciting possibilities coming in the future. So I've seen a bunch of cool things. I work with a lot of Android Things developers as they're building their projects. So I've met people who are building it for they want to measure, they have body sensors that they're building to help measure health values, or people are building devices for homes. I built something to feed my dogs at home when if I'm away late at work or something like that. So there's all kinds of really cool little things that people can build. And I think that there's a lot of potential for, exciting ideas that people can build to solve little problems. It's kind of fun. So one of the things I'm really excited about for Android Things is that it enables startups, small companies that previously didn't have large manufacturing capabilities. In the past, you had to make millions of devices, you had to have a huge factory, it cost a lot of money. With Android Things, we've built a platform that allows you to prototype easily and then to ramp up to production, even in small quantities where the cost is still affordable. So I like to call it democratizing hardware development. We're helping to bring production of IoT devices to small companies, even one-person companies. I've even built devices of my own at home. And it's really opening up possibilities that previously wasn't even possible. Here at IoT World, it's been really exciting to talk to developers and sort of talk to them about their specific problems. So they're like, hey, how would I build this? And we talk about it. They give feedback as to things that they would like. So it's a really good chance to have a back and forth conversation with developers to just sort of learn and educate. And I really like meeting people in the community, and it really helps us to plan the product going forward, is because then I take this feedback and I give it to the product teams and I say, hey, everyone's asking for this feature. This is something we should be considering. So it's a great way for developers to get their feedback integrated in and for us to learn more. One of the things I like is to encourage people to build things. So I'd like to say, build awesome things.